Hola amigos! Lance from Permanent Records back with another collection video. This collection is insane. It's a time capsule that was tucked away and left in storage for decades, just appreciating over time. And you're gonna appreciate this video. Before we get into the specific titles that were included in this collection and the story behind it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, give me a like, and shoot me a comment below as well so we can have a little discourse about this collection and some of the titles in it, what you think are some of the best things in this particular collection. And I'd love to hear more about collections that any given watcher might have purchased and have a story about. So let's talk in the comments below for sure. Anyway, so I've been crazy busy lately. I've been meaning to make this video for like weeks, but I've been inundated with calls. I went to the Bay Area to pick up a record collection and it ended up requiring 2 trips. So on the second trip, I literally drove up to the Bay Area and back in one day. This past Monday, I was in the car from 10 a.m. till midnight, mostly driving on the 5 for approximately 12 or 13 hours just to pick up 1,500 or so records for you. I just can't help myself. The collection wasn't even that good, but I promised the gentleman that I would come back and pick up the other half, so I had to do it. Anyway, this particular collection was different. This guy, his name is Daniel. He lived in LA for a time in the 90s. I think he grew up out here, I'm pretty sure. The details are getting a little foggy at this point. It's been a long time since we acquired this particular collection. So he lived in LA and he was a KXLU DJ. That's a radio station, a local radio station here, community radio station here in LA. And his claim to fame is that he's the first DJ to play Smells Like Teen Spirit on the radio. Apparently Kurt was like around town a lot, and somehow, some way, he ended up with the test pressing of a 12-inch or the single, whatever, and he was the first person to play Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana on the radio, which is just kind of mind-boggling. Didn't, mean a whole lot to him at the time, but obviously after what happened with Nirvana happened, that became a massive story, and just like an amazing turn of events for him. Well, this gentleman, he moved back to Chicago, or he moved to Chicago, I should say. And when he moved to Chicago, he put all of his LPs in storage here. He had a friend or a family member who had access to space in a building, I think that they worked out of, where he could just tuck these boxes, and it was a lot of boxes. I'll try to throw a photo of the collection in here. He was able to store them for free from then until just recently when the building was sold, and he had to get the boxes out of there and figure out what he was going to do with the records. Well, Daniel asked around to some friends in LA who was paying well for good records, and a bunch of people pointed him my direction. And he actually knew me because he was putting together a documentary on the DIY venue scene in Chicago when I still lived there. So he did an interview with me in the shop, and that's how we met. So just like a crazy turn of events, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing how little connections that you make over the years end up turning into a lucrative transaction down the line. Anyway, that's how we ended up with this particular record collection. He called me, asked me to evaluate the records. I took the records home with me. We evaluated them piece by piece, gave him the best possible offer we could on the entire collection. He was very happy with our offer, and we paid him, and now we have the records. So I have just 2 crates of the entire collection. I think it was like about 1,000 LPs, 900 or 1,000 LPs all told. And I have just 2 crates of some of the cream from this particular collection. I won't show off every single piece, but I did want to document this particular collection because I thought it was a pretty good story. And the records, some of the records in this lot are just absolutely mind-blowing. So here we go. Without further ado, let's just show off the not one, but two copies of Isn't Anything by My Bloody Valentine, a shoegaze classic to say the least. And there's more. There's My Bloody Valentine's Ecstasy EP and the Feed Me With Your Kiss EP as well. These UK shoegaze records, especially by the heavy hitters like My Bloody Valentine, are so hard to come by these days. This copy, we got a copy of Incesticide in the last record collection, the last Primo record collection that we bought. We're always buying records. It's like bananas how many records we buy, but I try to reserve the videos for the larger ones and the more interesting collections that we buy, like this one. Well, we got a copy of this in a previous collection not that long ago, within the last month or so. You probably saw the last video I posted of that record collection, the audiophile curated record collection. Well, anyway, now we got another copy, and this one is still sealed. That's a still sealed OG Incesticide. Just unbelievable. And here, I don't think this is the copy he played on air, but it could have been. We got the colored vinyl version of the 12-inch single of Smells Like Teen Spirit. Not one, but two sealed copies of GI by the Germs. This isn't a first pressing. It's got a barcode on the back, but it's early-ish and just unbelievable that it's still sealed. Like, what a wild situation. That's what happens with these like industry collections sometimes, and the fact that these records sat in boxes for decades is the only reason that it's still sitting there. We live in LA. We love Los Angeles by X. This is two different copies. We have a later pressing with a barcode and an earlier pressing, both on Slash. That's a LA punk classic. A punk classic regardless of where it's from. Obviously, the majority of you are familiar with that one, but if you're not, that record will knock your socks off. Absolutely insane. LA through and through. Like, Ray Manzarek produced the album. They cover a Doors song on the record. It's just amazing. And John Doe and Exene are local legends, not to mention the other members of the band. We got a really primo, super clean, still in shrink copy with the hype sticker of the Tracy Chapman album that everybody wants these days. And then we got a whole bunch of 80s new wave and indie stuff. We got The Church there, ×2. Back to the LA punk. We got Wild in the Streets by the Circle Jerks. Just amazing. More UK ethereal new wave, the Cocteau Twins. Here's another Cocteau Twins related thing. This is Harold Budd, and yeah, I think this is Cocteau Twins related. Anyway, this is The Moon and the Melodies on 4AD. There was a ton of really great reggae in this collection as well. We do not get nearly enough reggae, so it's always awesome to be able to get a little grip of good stuff. The Blue Nile record, I've talked about that in previous videos. Here's a super freaky live Butthole Surfers record, limited to 10,000 copies. Like, what a wild scenario to think about. A band like Butthole Surfers being able to sell 10,000 copies of a limited edition live record. The classic Love Bites by the Buzzcocks. If you don't like the Buzzcocks, you should check your pulse, because I don't think you have a soul. They're one of the greatest bands of all time, punk or otherwise. Nick Cave, The Bad Seeds, Tender Prey, amazing stuff. Killing Time. This is not something I'm particularly familiar with. So somebody shoot me a comment. Tell me what Killing Time's all about. A classic, Lola versus Power Man, etc. By the Kinks. More punk rock, sealed punk rock by MIA. We got some, I don't think I can show the majority of this Dwarves record on YouTube without getting in trouble, so we'll just keep it down here and put it to the side. I'm not trying to get banned from YouTube. So we got not one, not two, not three, not four, but many more. I think there's a bunch of more fall coming up. But yeah, I love the Fall. They're one of the greatest post-punk bands from the UK. Marky Smith is, you know, an idiosyncratic frontman. He's just one of a kind. And wow, what a illustrious and epic catalog that band has. Here's a cool one, the Eraserhead soundtrack. Awesome, gotta love David Lynch. There was some metal in the mix as well. Here's an Excel record on Caroline. This is the Field Mice. This is Sarah Records. If you're not familiar with the indie label Sarah, they did not do a whole lot of releases, but they are all fairly highly sought after and really cool documents of the UK 80s indie scene. Jawbreaker, Unfun. I'm pretty sure this is on colored vinyl, yeah. So we got the blue vinyl version. Again, the condition, just like the Dan Schwartz collection. And if you haven't seen those videos, I think there's three parts of a previous collection that we bought. Here's a cool Sub Pop record by an unsung band called Love Battery. If you're into grunge and you haven't checked out Love Battery, you should definitely do that. Here's, I think, the first Ministry album. This is a very different Ministry than what they ended up becoming in the industrial vein. This is more of a synth pop record. This is really, really good stuff before Al Jorgensen got wild and crazy. 1919 Machine. I don't know anything about that record, honestly. No for an answer. This is on Hawker Records. Presumably hardcore record. I have never actually listened to that one. And then we got some No Means No, Canadian punk rock. That's a sealed OG copy of that. Here's a test pressing. What do we got here? This is a Gangstar 12-inch test pressing. Dope hip hop, classic hip hop. Yeah, there was a fair amount of hip hop in the mix too. So we got, here's a Lord Finesse record. I see Lord Finesse around LA record fairs and things. Super nice guy, legend, local legend. Burning Spear, continuing in the trajectory of, or down the path, I should say, of all the great reggae that was in this collection. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing to get some of this stuff. I am very much looking forward to spending some time with a bunch of these dub and reggae records that we just don't get often enough. And that said, please keep in mind, these records are not for sale yet. They are still in storage here and not priced or processed or cleaned or any of that yet. So please don't ask. The records will hit the shelves when they hit the shelves. Follow us on Instagram if you don't already. We sell a bunch of records on Instagram. We post about 60 or 80 records a night, usually starting around 4 or 5 p.m. in Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, you'll see a bunch of this stuff up there sooner than later. Born Against, classic. You know, post-hardcore, I guess is what you would call this. Definitely punk rock, a punk rock subgenre record, maybe hardcore. Anyway, Sam McPheeters from Born Against is a friend of mine. There are bigger Born Against fans than I am. I appreciate them, but I am not super well versed in their catalog. Again, just lots and lots of clean punk, reggae, hip hop, just all the stuff you would want to find in a time capsule collection from the 90s. Yeah, Dan, or Daniel in this case, he bought these records. It's pretty obvious that he did not play them a whole lot, or if he did, he took extremely good care of them. Most of them look like they were bought, opened, played once, and then put away and stored very, very well. There you go. Bad Brains. DC Punk Classic. There's a cool hype sticker on there, man. And a gold promo stamp. So Daniel, being a radio DJ, obviously was being sent promos from record labels to play on the air. And he was, I think, working in record stores as well at the time. Just had great taste. And, you know, those are three really, really important elements of a fantastic record collection. Access to great records, amazing taste, and then also just the respect for the format that will, you know, cause the collection, if kept well, to appreciate over time. We are just plowing right through a ton of the reggae stuff that was included in this collection, and now we'll get into more indie stuff. Another duplicate from the Last Dan collection. There you go, Surfer Rosa by the Pixies. Another copy of Come On Pilgrim by the Pixies. That one's still in shrink. We got the classic Let Them Eat Jelly Beans compilation on Alternative Tentacles. A couple of 10 inches. No, this is just a double 10 inch by Lush. This one's also on 4AD. Yeah, I mean, I assume everybody out there, here's a nice little blues box set, the Robert Johnson complete recordings. You know, one of the OG country blues guys. And then we got Tribe Called Quest, People's Instinctive Travels. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Super clean Pogues in the shrink. OG Primus suck on this. Unbelievable. You just don't see this kind of stuff very often. Here's another sealed No Means No record. And I consider myself very lucky to have been the person that Daniel called about this collection. He had a little classic rock as well. Wall, Wish You Were Here. Here's a undenoted Alternative Tentacles test pressing. I don't remember what that one was. And then just one more here. This is a tribute to the Velvet Underground called Heaven and Hell. This has Chapter House, The Telescopes, Nirvana, The Wedding Present, Buffalo Tom, James, Screaming Trees, and Ride, and others on it. What a cool compilation. Stunning. That'll do it for part 1 of this video series. We're gonna break this into 2 parts, so we'll be back soon with part number 2. Cheers, y'all.